Eric Burgess here with Music Marketing TV, and today we're going to be checking out the audio cleanup assistant in the Voice Deepener by Accusonus. Let's jump right into it. So here I am. I've got a basic session that I'm editing right now for another thing, and when I record my videos, sometimes there's a fan noise that kicks up in the room, and in this particular recording, I have that going on. So if I go ahead and play this, you'll hear this fan noise. If you got to listen pretty carefully. It's not honestly that big a deal, but it's kind of nice to be able to get rid of. And we're also going to see if I can lower my voice. So I've done a ton of recordings. I'm very used to how my voice sounds, but they've created a new plugin that will actually deepen your voice to be more similar to how you hear it. Because when we talk, our skull vibrates and also the sound just moves around our head. And it makes it sound like our voice is actually lower than what other people hear. And so it's going to make it more like how we hear it, which is extremely interesting. So let's go ahead and let me just show you this right here. Listen for the noise. Listen to where my voice is kind of sitting. But we've got control over the direct, early, and late reflections. So that's really nice. You can control the panning. So you can hear there's just a ton of fan noise in there. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Or maybe not a ton, but there's enough for me to notice it. So I've gone ahead and added already a audio cleanup assistant. And this is basically just like a house for all the different plugins they make. And I'm going to come in here, and first there's presets. So if you just want to go and toss on a preset and see what these sound like, these are kind of already picked out settings. So really straightforward to use if you're not the most familiar with this stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and remove the noise first and then process the audio. You always want to take the noise out first. So in the first spot, I'm going to put a noise remover. And we don't need too much, so I'm going to turn it down here to like 30%. We'll dial it up as needed. If you dial it up a ton, you might get your voice sounding kind of weird. And so you back it off to where you get rid of the noise and you still sound really normal. So let's go ahead and just play this and hear what it sounds like. But we've got control over the direct, early, and late reflections. So that's really nice. You can control the panning and the volume, tilt EQ. But so what makes this really cool is it's completely removed the noise. So you heard it as the spot where it turned on. So it takes a little bit to look at your audio and determine what needs to happen. And then it will go ahead and apply the effect, because the plugin has this AI-based stuff so that it could tell like what it needs to do. So it needs to get a little bit of your signal to tell what should happen. And yeah, it's completely gone. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then we'll start with it off, and then I'll turn it on and off a few times so you can hear the difference. So here we go. But we've got control over the direct, early, and late reflections. So that's really nice. You can control the panning and the volume, tilt EQ. But what makes this really cool is the redirect. So I'm clicking around on the GUI, which could cause it to cause a couple audio hiccups. But when you render it out, it's not going to do that. So you can hear though, took that out, and that was it. My voice was left alone. Sounds super clean. So that's really great. Now, the next thing that we're going to mess with is the Voice Deepener. So they've got this Voice Deepener, and essentially the more you turn this knob, the deeper your voice gets. It's that straightforward. Let's go ahead, and I always get a kick out of turning this thing. So let's go ahead and listen to this. We've got our, just classic regular interface up here as far as the D16 stuff goes. But we've got control over the direct, early, and late reflections. So that's really nice. You can control the panning and the volume, tilt EQ. But what makes this really cool is the reverb model over here. So it's going in and altering the voice to sound lower in a way that would just be really hard to do if you're trying to brute force this with other methods. Like if you're trying to EQ and compress and do things to do what this does, it's just a lot hard. It's really tricky to dial something like this in. And this allows you just with one knob, you just boom, and there it is. They've got two modes. They've got normal. Let's go to punchy. And now let's turn it around on that one too. We've got our, just classic regular interface up here as far as the D16 stuff goes. But we've got control over the direct, early, and late reflections. So that's really nice. You can control the panning and the volume, tilt EQ. But what makes this really cool is the reverb model over here. So you can see the mic setup, the width. So that is what this does. So 2 things when you're using this that you want to be aware of. First, you want to make sure that you've got a good quality recording. That's just a prerequisite for everything. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the kind of mic you have is going to impact this dramatically because, right, the mics are going to capture it differently. For example, I've got a dynamic mic in front of me. If I start talking really close to it, my voice will start to get a little lower. We get what's called the proximity effect. So it gets a sort of a different kind of a boost to it versus if you were talking into like a large diaphragm condenser microphone. I know a lot of people, especially in the YouTube community, use the AT2020, which is a really great mic, but it doesn't always have that fullness unless you get right up on it. So this is a way to get that fullness without needing to go out and buy a $600 microphone. So this is a really, really great plugin. Like, I'm honestly really taken aback by how nice it sounds. I thought it was gonna sound the first time I used it just like some sort of a pitch down effect. I didn't think it was gonna sound convincing at all, and I am completely done a 180 on that. This is way cooler than I thought it was gonna be. So that's my take on it anyways. You can walk away with your own take. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos. And have a blessed day.